Slugger can either be a liability or an asset. Slugger can be a liability because of this card right here. 200% radius, or 50% larger radius, 200% increased grenade damage. And then you have 6 extra grenades. So you're tossing out a bunch of nades, nade out, nade out, nade out. Oh no, you're down and you're spamming RT and you just blew up. You killed the whole enemy spawn, but you killed yourself. And then the boss comes along and you're dead. So that's when Slugger's a liability. But you could also be an asset because of this passive here. This passive makes you resist 50% explosive damage. Then you have a perk that's damage reduction. So you could have 80% explosive damage reduction. You can tank boom shots. You can tank a sentinel shooting you. DR1 devastators, boom shots, ions, drop shots, ions. All that you just tank. So you're an asset to the team because you can't die to sentinels pretty much. So here comes the sentinel, downs 3 teammates, and then he goes to you. He's just pounding you away, but like it doesn't matter. You have 80% DR. So you just tank it and then, go help that other guy and revive and whatnot. So that's very good. And then you got the ultimate where you knock back and stun. And it says you do 50% more damage, but I honestly don't know if that's real. Part of what makes the ultimate kind of suck is that you can't get active damage from it because for some reason the hits on this count as melee. So like if there was a daily where you do more melee damage, then your ult on Slugger does more damage. It's kind of silly. Anyway, moving on to the cards. Grenade proficiency, 200% more damage, 50% larger range. Like I said, you could be throwing frags and then you kill yourself. I suggest not using frags until you have to. Like just use shocks. Like shocks deal a little bit of damage and they stun the enemies, so then it really helps the whole team out because you're hurting the enemies and you're stunning them to where they legit cannot do anything but walk. They just walk. That's all they do while they're in the shock grenades. So if you're throwing a bunch of shock grenades and planting shock grenades at the enemies, that's a good thing. And then for your melee classes and your infiltrators, as long as the enemies are in the shock, they can stand outside the shock and still like breaker may slam or shoot them with the shotgun. So you're just helping the team. I would like to see more shock grenade sluggers. And then as Slugger, using shock grenades, which won't kill everything, you can use like an M-bar, a long shot, a GL, a standard Lancer. You got 60% increased ballistic damage right there. And then the penetration 2, so like any of your shots just go straight through them, just like the marksman passive here, except for marksman it's only precision shots penetrate through targets, but for Slugger it's ballistic rounds. So any shot that you take from a ballistic gun will just pass right through and then you can get easy collats. Lethal preparations allows 6 extra grenade traps, so you have 8. You have 6 extra grenades here, so you have 8 grenades, 8 traps. You could just use all 8, and then if you've got the grenade regeneration perk, at level 10, it gives you 1 grenade every 10 seconds. So whenever you're planting, you will get at least 1 grenade back by the time you have all 8 planted. Tough Skin, I actually do use this card just because sometimes enemies are within 15 meters and you do have a damage reduction perk. So instead of being 32, it is 62. 62% DR, that's good. And I don't use the shotgun on Sluggers, so Impact Receiver sucks for me. And I also just don't like it. I just wish that they fixed the old version, honestly. The old version of this card made it to where shotgun hits, successful ones, would extend your ultimate. But unfortunately, I never got to play with that. Because whenever I tried using it, it didn't work. But I had heard that with that, you could just walk around a matriarch and just basically kill her. Because you could just have her sit there and do nothing, and then you just keep extending your ult. And I honestly feel like that would be way better than this stunning drones, shepherds, and deadeyes. Like, that's just bad. Like, why do you need to stun those? Just kill them, you know? Like, and it's active shots too. So you have to active and then shoot them. Like, why are you using an Asher on Slugger? No. It's just bad. Tough Skin is way better. Because if you perk up, which you should, then, you know, you got 62% DR. To ballistics within 15 meters. And 80 if you're perked up to explosives. So yeah, I wouldn't use impact receiver, though you could. You know, it's your choice. You play however you play. And so for Slugger, you mainly, if you're using frags, don't plant in the spawns. Like, plant where enemies, like, at the edge of the base. Like, on Overload, plant to the taps and like a little and in the sides and the middle if you're going to be using frags. So then enemies will still walk into them, they'll still die to them, but then, you know, if your teammates let them get past their spawns, then you get the kills. That way you're not a jackass and just blowing up all the spawns, and then the spawns die, and then, like, you know, your marksmans have all that screen shake from all those grenades. Then your demos and whatnot can't get their ult back because you just wiped half the wave, and then you can't kill the bosses as quick as them, but they don't have their ult for the boss. Like, you know, tactician, even kind of marksman and like demo, you know, these classes should get their ult back from killing enemies. Same kind of like with infiltrator, you know, from killing enemies, and you're blowing up the whole spawns. There's nothing for them to get their ult back from, and then either like next wave or later that wave, the bosses are coming, they don't have their ult. It just sucks, you know. So I wouldn't plant frags in the spawns, you know, unless your teammates suck ass. Like, if they're really bad, then you can plant frags in the spawns because you're like the main DPS. Otherwise, I would just do shocks and chill out with the long shot. You know, you got 60% more damage than it. You got a damage perk, so you've got 110% long shot damage. And then you've got a damage perk, so you could use the Lancer GL. Rain that down, you know, do a bunch of damage with that. And yeah, so for perks, you've got damage reduction, damage, grenade regen, and maybe feedback boost or something. Can't remember the fourth perk on any of these supporter promo classes, but well, except attack, of course. But yeah, just perk up your, I would say, bit of, you know, damage reduction and damage, and then put like one here or there on the grenade regen. Having your grenade regen level 10 can really help if you get pushed back into like a corner or something, and like you're just stuck in that corner. You could regen some grenades, throw out some shocks, and then the enemies are just sitting there doing nothing, and then you could maybe get out of that corner while they're shocked, pick up some teammates. And then a benefit of using shock grenades is that when there's a sentinel or guardian, it will instantly break their shield if you get it under them, which is very good, because then you could hit them just straight up and then kill them. And yeah, that's it for Slugger.